Hello there, Sam Fisher. Just over a year ago now, I put out the Prologue episode to what is probably, personally, I think, the best work I've ever done, best mini-series I've ever done. That was Media, Mindspace and Manipulation. And it began as a project that I've been doing for a while, after a tip from a friend of mine, just randomly, just after the Maui fire. And he mentioned something in passing, which was red cells, and that led me on a rabbit hole, it really did. But then October the 7th happened in Israel, and I started noticing all the different things that were pretty wrong with it, yeah? Like the IDF taking 6 hours to go what is effectively 30 miles, yeah, by Apache helicopter that was 5 miles away from where all the carnage was happening. The fact that the most secure and most high level security border in the world was defeated by paragliders is ridiculous. The thing goes off, right, by pigeons flying past, yeah? So how did paragliders get past? Obviously, it was switched off. There's just the general bullshit that was surrounding this whole event that prompted me to actually fast track that series that I was going to put off until the beginning of this year to actually start getting it out around this time. The entire premise of that series is based around what I call the deception industrial complex, which is the amalgamation of military spec ops, primarily red team units, red cell in the US and E-Squadron in the UK, and their ties with a very old and now retired sort of ongoing operation, which was Gladio, which employed at first Italian militias that were supplied weapons through the mafia and got their orders given to them through the Vatican, and then that spread out. You got Operation Condor in I think it's Argentina, oh no, Chile, sorry, and also in Argentina. They started off a revolution there, started off a revolution in Bolivia, in Guatemala, Nicaragua. You get the idea, yeah? It spread out into Turkey, everything else. In that entire series, from the first mention of those red cell units, I showed you the documents showing that not only are Hamas a red cell, yeah, a red team unit, primarily E-Squadron, that's who they're led by, not the political wing, let's get this right, the military wing, the military arm. There's two factions of Hamas. Not a lot of people realise this. There's a political arm and a military arm, and you had to split when the Palestinians voted Hamas in, yeah, to lead them in Gaza, much to the surprise of everybody. So then you had to split Hamas into two separate entities, one political, one military. Hamas was started off by the US and the UK through Israel and Iran. Hamas are funded through Israel and through Iran, yeah? The reason why they were invented, like I've mentioned this a few times before, but the reason why they exist in the first place was to split the PLO down the middle that were gaining too much traction and too much popularity. And Yasser Arafat was basically leading them into a true two-state solution, something that wasn't in the interest of the US and the UK primarily, yeah? Hamas caused chaos in Israel, and not only did they cause chaos in Israel, but the wider Middle East, yeah? That chaos forces nations to pick a side, yeah, those Muslim nations to pick a side, either Hamas or, which is basically just Muslim rule, yeah, politicized religion, yeah, is what it is effectively, or free market capitalism, yeah, through the US and Israel. And a lot of them sided with Israel, especially the Saudis, Qataris, Yemenis, Omanis, yeah, Jordanians, Syrians for a while, Egyptians, Iraq and Iran on the other hand, and Lebanon all decided not to bother with doing that, and stuck with the Islamic side and paid the price. As soon as Lebanon turned their backs on the US, Hezbollah is formed to overthrow the Lebanese regime, and as soon as that started happening, the Lebanese thought, hang on, I've had a change of heart. So to keep them in line, as I mentioned before, Hezbollah took over the south of the country. They're not recognised at all by either the Lebanese government or the Lebanese military. They're purely, again, another arm of the red team. Yeah, it's another red team led by, again, I think it's a combination of red cell and E-Squadron units there. These units, right, these Spec Ops units, red cell and E-Squadron. E-Squadron's part of the SAS, right, but it's off the books and it gets its orders from MI6 and MI5, yeah. They're a paramilitary wing of the SAS. Paramilitary meaning they are basically a militia creating force, should we say, yeah. They're taught to act and think like terrorists. That is their primary function, right? Same with Red Cell in the US. Dick Marchenko, who created SEAL Team 6, probably one of the most famous special operations teams in the world, yeah. Most famous, not the best, right? Dick Marchenko, actually, when he retired from the SEALs, realised that every single army base in the entire world, every single US army base was basically vulnerable in so many ways. So he set up Red Cell as a means of testing the security of the bases, especially nuclear bases, yeah. And the amount of stuff he got up to and how he got into those bases was mind-blowing. The ease at which he did it. The ease at which they set up, basically taking photos of high-ranking officers in army bases or wherever they could catch hold of him, and each photo was a kill shot. And then they go in later on and say, look, this is where you're dead, this is where you're dead, this is where you're dead. When Dick Marchenko left, completely retired, Red Cell's operational mandate changed. All of a sudden they were tucked into the deep black world and were turned into a terrorist false flag organisation, exactly like Gladio, and that's the same with E-Squadron as well. Why am I telling you all this? Well, something I've noticed since Trump got into power is all of a sudden Hamas want a peace deal. So do Hezbollah and the Houthi rebels. Even Israel wants a peace deal. All of a sudden everyone wants peace, yeah, apart from the Iranians who are sulking, yeah. If ever there was anything that proved to you, yeah, good people out there, of who actually is in charge, it's this. What's happened there since Trump got in. It's always been the US and the UK. This proves that Hamas, Hezbollah, the Israeli regime, the Iranian regime, the Houthi rebels, all that lot, are all made up bullshit organisations. Extremist factories. Yeah? False flag factories is what they are. tell you something about E-Squadron. 6 months before the Iraq War, 6 months before the Afghan War, 6 months before Libya, yeah, before the overthrow of, well, the rebellion against Muammar Gaddafi, 6 months before the Yemeni War, yeah. E-Squadron have always been on the ground, yeah, every single one of those times. Now, remember what I said, this is a paramilitary wing of the SAS under the command of MI6. Why would they be there? What would be the purpose? Well, it's quite obvious, isn't it? Every rebel sort of organisation, yeah, that suddenly arose in those countries was set up by them and led by them. My media, Mindspace and Manipulation series, I showed you all the documents, everything that tells you from start to finish what's what, and yet barely anyone's paid attention to it, mostly because YouTube has suppressed it so much. It's irrefutable. British and US intelligence have had free reign over the world for decades, and they've had everyone blaming a certain sliver of land in the Middle East and its inhabitants. Yet no one wants to hear that. They like familiar. Most of you like the familiar. The comfort, yeah? I think it's like a comfort blanket to you people. Those of you shouting from the rooftop, it's the Jews, it's the Jews. It's not the fucking Jews. Never has been. They're a tool. A means to an end. And you'd think that all this happening when Trump got in, of everyone wanting peace all of a sudden, would have clicked something into gear. Hang on, why are Israel doing that? Because they're not in charge, they're not in control. Mossad was set up and funded, and they're all trained by MI6 and CIA. Shin Bet are trained by NSA and GCHQ. Shaikh 13, the Spec Ops unit, yeah? The one that raided the flotilla, yeah, that, what's his face, Ken Summit or other, can't remember his fucking name, yeah, that he was on. They raided that boat specifically because there were reporters on that boat, right, that had a lot of information on the Sassoons and they were going to spill the beans, so the Sassoons sent the boys in. That's who runs Israel, by the way. Not the Rothschilds. The Rothschilds aren't in charge and never have been. Not since about 1890, yeah? Sassoons run the opium trade. Have done since 1820. From the field to your doctor's prescription, they own the opium trade. They run Israel, masking themselves behind the two highest ranking rabbis probably in the world. Their entire family, yeah, Solomon and Isaac's granddad had the ear of the first Israeli president, and they've had the ear of every single Israeli president since. They're Netanyahu's favourite sons. Well, not sons. Favourite friends, shall we say. The best bit, not even Jewish. Ayatollah Sassoon. Bet a lot of you didn't know that, did you? Eh? All of you defending Iran. Khomeini and this new guy, whose name I've completely forgotten, both Sassoons. Jordan's king, Sassoon. Yeah? They're the only Jewish family you need to concern yourself with. Yeah? And maybe the Kushners a little bit. Like I said, they're like the Sopranos. Bit of a wild card. But they don't run the world either. Yeah? The Sassoons. They take orders from the big men. The big man, shall we say. Head of the Piscer family, as I've said plenty of times. Piscers, US. That's where he's living at the minute. And yes, I know who it is. Do I ever? I've left clues everywhere, yeah? All over the place, on my Telegram page, in my articles I've written, videos I've made. As long as you know where to look and what you're looking at. Ah, thank you. Brilliant. See, everything these people have done in the past few days, they were hoping ideally that no one would notice, and those that did, they hope wouldn't know what's going on. Thing is though, when you actually stop blaming that one nation in the Middle East, all of this that's happened now becomes extremely clear and makes a whole lot of sense. Something that all you people blaming that country, blaming its inhabitants, can't do. Explain how this makes sense. Yeah? That as soon as Trump wins, everybody in the Middle East is now wanting peace instantly. That Putin has also said we want peace, much to the Iranian chagrin. But the surprise should have been Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis. Why are they doing it? How do you explain that one? Eh? If it's all the Jews and always the Jews, how do you explain that? That even Israel wants a peace deal now. See, one thing I noticed when Netanyahu went to go and see Trump, he shit himself as soon as he saw him. He's damn near wetting himself. Because he knows what's coming. In my estimation, I think Biden was part of the plan to make people want the system again, yeah? To be hungry for it, because even when Trump won last time, the appetite still wasn't there, yeah? So they got Biden to act like a twat, yeah? Argumented, like he didn't know what he was doing. The speech that he gave yesterday was amazing, considering he's demented, can hardly walk, can hardly talk. He's doing perfectly fine there. Looks happy even. Jovial. As soon as you say that, you've got to ask yourself, well, why is that? Because we're acting. I think Joel's given the most Oscar-worthy performance for the past 4 years of any actor in Hollywood. I really do. Masterful, I'd say. What am I on about? I don't think he was even demented. I think it was all an act. I think we've all been had. Same with Kamala. See, she's not that stupid when you think about it, right? she was the woman who was prosecuting, yeah, she was the prosecutor against Michael Jackson. She convinced the world that he was a paedophile when he weren't. A few weeks later, he was dead. Right before he was going to be the controlling shareholder of Sony Records, yeah, Sony Music. She couldn't have either. Couldn't have a performer, I mean, outperforming them. The actual owners of Sony Music didn't want that. So what was it all for? Well, like I said 2 years ago when we started indicting him, Trump, I mean, and they kept on piling on the indictments. They're making him into a messianic figure. They are. The more they hit him with the judicial system, the more the people turn against them. Then when he was shot, or shot at, should I say, scraped his ear. I think that was very likely real and wasn't planned either. Not by Trump anyway, and his team. I think that was a power play by the other power-hungry asshole in America, that being Obama. See, I've got a feeling that from 2016 to 2020, Trump was playing along. But then I started realising he's not a young chicken anymore. Yeah? He's an old guy. He might not have long left on this world. Barring a few hotels and a few casinos, he hasn't really got much of a legacy here, has he? You know what he's like, he's got to be the best at everything. So naturally, he wanted to be the best president that's ever lived. What better way to do that? And to save the world, not just the US, but the world from the tyranny of socialism and communism and the crazy people in the Democrat Party, most of which aren't actors and are, unfortunately, that stupid. You see, if Gaza didn't almost instantly request a peace deal as soon as Trump got in, I wouldn't have noticed anything much. I'd have let it, like most people, go over my head. But it was the lack of any pushback, anger, veiled threats in the rhetoric. Nothing from the Democrats since he's won. That never happened last time. No riots either. Well, there wasn't any. I think there has been now, because people have cottoned on, not just me. You would agree. So we had to start a riot just to make it look good. Wasn't really much of one. They're waiting for the big finale though, in January next year. They're going to keep stringing us along, making us think that we're going to get what we want. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to work out. Martial law is going to be declared before then. This has been the plan all along. I said previously, you need martial law for everything else to be put in place. They're just genuinely sat there with their fingers crossed, I think, that civil war doesn't break out, but I think it's inevitable. Once it breaks out there, it'll break out everywhere. It'll be a domino effect across the West for sure, even in Iran, I think. See, the Crown Prince of Iran, Shah's son, has been doing a lot of public appearances lately, particularly on Patrick Bet-David's podcast, but that's because he's fellow Iranian. Patrick clearly loves the guy, which is wonderful. But he's always said that he wants the Iranian people to stand up. The ones that want to stand up want him to go and rule, and he doesn't want to do it. See, this is the mark of a true leader: reluctance. Reluctance to lead. They don't want the position. And this is what this guy's got in spades. He'll just advise. He'll advise the people that the person that the people choose once they depose the Ayatollah. Well, now, and this is why Iran are sulking, I think. They've pulled the Ayatollah regime's funding that came from the CIA, which, along with that, came protection from the CIA. He doesn't have that anymore. So I think he's probably right now flicking through holiday brochures, trying to find a nice place to go into exile at. Nice beach somewhere. Swim up bar or something. He's Muslim, we don't drink. And I know plenty of Muslims that drink. I know plenty of ex-Muslims that also drink. Drink's involved a lot. Well, anyway. So yeah. I think civil war will probably happen in Iran. That may spread outwards from there into Iraq, because Iraq's now a sort of vassal of Iran. Weird that, innit? Yeah? It's never, they were murderously at odds through the 80s and 90s until Saddam was killed. And then all of a sudden they're best friends. Yeah, we did that on purpose. Is it to do ISIS? No. Which idiot said that? ISIS doesn't exist, never has. Baghdadi never exists. Never existed. He's died. I think I've mentioned this before. He died 4 times between 2014 and 2020. Trump killed him the last time. Made sure he was dead, I suppose. How can he die 4 times? Same with his deputy, twice he died. Once in 2018 and once in 2022. This is how you know all these terrorist organisations that come up with are fake. They may use real idiots, yeah? As the scapegoat, the patsy. Someone to blame an actual operation on, but I can guarantee you now, 99% are all Western red teams. Anyway, throughout all of this little diatribe here that I've come out with, you should have been seeing documents going past your eyes. All of them are on a specific Telegram group that I set up with all them documents on. There's hundreds of them. It's worth trying to have a look. Those that are interested. Those that aren't, what the fuck are you watching this video for? I appreciate it, but if you're not going to look at this yourself, there's no point. You'll just go in one ear and out the other. No matter how many times you watch it. Watching YouTube videos doesn't educate you, but it does give you an idea. It gives you some ideas. It gives you a direction to look. Anyway. So yeah, apart from red teams, you've got cyber ops, psychological warfare units, spy bee, nudge units, MSM and big tech. And these red teams all working together. But it's the red teams that are the core, because they create the fearful atmosphere. The very atmosphere that makes us easy to control. If you don't know what I'm on about there, read The Crowd, right? Eric Fromm, or Stanley Milgram's experiment in authority, resisting authority. Both very, very well documented psychological experiments that are terrifying. You know full well to controllers as a group, individually they don't. But as a group we move like fish, like sardine, all at once, all in the same direction, following no particular leader. And that's by design, that's what they keep using. Anyway, right enough. Like, share, subscribe, fuck off.